Hey guys, Gavin here. I've been working on making one of these little 3D printed crossbows to see how good of a weapon it would be at fighting coronavirus boredom. And I got mixed results. It's a pretty fun little toy, though I kind of understand now why toys that you see sold in stores have to go through such rigorous safety standards. This little crossbow and the toothpicks it shoots are, well, they're a little frightening actually. Since the toothpicks the crossbow shoots are not fletched, they're simply straight on the back, and you can't put fletchings in the magazine it has. What ends up happening is you can only shoot it basically right next to the target. And because you have to shoot them so close, when they don't actually stick into the target, they kind of tend to bounce back right in your face, which isn't the most pleasant thing. As far as the actual operation of the crossbow, it's pretty simple. It has a little cocking lever there, and then a trigger here, which you just pull back and it fires. It's a very simple little notch-based crossbow lock, basically. As far as the operation goes, though, I've had a bunch of issues, honestly. It doesn't feed reliably at all. And if you aren't careful, what will happen is the bolts here, they'll just slide right out of the barrel like that. Another issue I've had is basically the string will go over the arrow and you can't actually pull the string back. And if the arrow goes too far back here, it basically won't shoot at all. As far as building it goes, it was really a pain in the butt. It took a long time to print, about 7 hours actually. Part of that's just because I've got a slow printer, but also part of that's because there's a lot of pieces to it. And putting it together was not easy at all. Luckily it doesn't take any glue to put it together, it just kind of fits together. So getting it to fit is pretty tricky. You have to get all of the little pieces just right, basically, and you have to get use toothpicks as little pins to hold it together, and gotta trim them just the right size. And other than toothpicks and a 3D printer, all I needed was just some fishing line to work for the bowstring here. And it's really easy to do. You don't have to worry about tying a perfectly sized knot or anything because of the way that it is. That's an issue I had with some of my bows that I tried making. So I've been trying to find some sort of little shooting toy that I can shoot little targets with in my bedroom here. And the first thing that I tried doing was actually making my own bows. This is one of the first ones I made. I just shaved down a bamboo skewer with a knife, and as you can see here, it didn't survive that long. Though it did work better on my second try, and this one is, well, it's a very nice bow actually. The issue that I've been having though is that you really can't make any arrows that'll really work at this size. I think the aerodynamics are pretty weird because of just how small it is, but the real issue is that I don't have any materials that I can use that make an arrow that's flexible enough to flex around the bow as the arrow gets shot. There's a thing called Archer's Paradox. It's how an arrow moves around the shaft. There's a really cool video by Smarter Every Day on it. He has slow motion footage and all that. It's really awesome. This is one of the errors I made, and the real issue with it, I thought that the issue was that it was too heavy at the back and it wasn't balanced right, so that's why there's all the electrical tape up at the front. And the actual real issue is the fact that it's it's just super stiff. It's Archer's paradox. So the arrow is pretty straight here, as you see, but as it gets closer and closer and closer to the bow, it starts to bend off. And what you'll actually see happening is, as the arrow gets launched, it just tumbles. And what you'll end up doing is, instead of having fun shooting an arrow into a target, you're just launching pieces of wood uncontrollably around your bedroom, and that's not very safe to do. Not unless you got safety glasses, and it's not fun either. I think maybe if I had some thinner arrow shafts, maybe if I carved this down or sanded it, maybe that would work, but I'm not really sure. Honestly, I'm kind of disappointed. I think I've learned a lot from this, and I think that in the future I can use what I've learned to maybe make one of my own that's a lot better. If you do want to make one of these, I really advise you get some safety glasses, because it's not the safest thing in the world. But I have to admit, I had a lot of fun printing it out and putting it together and just figuring out how it works. But it's only about a day's worth of fun, and honestly I don't see myself actually playing with this after this, because it's just not that fun and it's not that good. If I knew how well or how poorly it worked before I printed it, I probably wouldn't have even printed it. It's really kind of a waste of filament. However, I do think that if it didn't have this magazine, and if you could actually put fletched arrows on it, and maybe some sights or something, it'd be a lot more fun to use. Maybe next week I'll try and make a stock for this so that I can shoot it like a crossbow, and maybe make some ammunition that's actually reliable enough that I'm not worried about it bouncing back in my face. Next week I'll be making some coronavirus survival food. It's not the most nutritious stuff in the world, but it should keep you sane. Anyways, wherever you are, I hope that the coronavirus quarantine isn't driving you crazy, and I hope you're well and that you have a good week. See you next time.